Hey, everybody. Welcome to an emergency Get the Word Out. Our political friends in Indiana are freaking the crap out for good reason. The Indiana State Republicans have released their map for redistricting the 9 congressional seats that we have in Indiana, and it is bananas. We're going to pull it up and show it to you and talk about it. And this really involves Tim Peck, my co-founder, my good friend, because he is running for Congress in District 9, which is at the bottom. He's at the bottom of Indiana in a rural farm close to Louisville, and his district would be put with parts of Indianapolis. Make it make sense. Oh, wait, it doesn't. So, Tim, how are you doing, my friend? And yeah, let's get into why we're having this emergency live, because
Absolutely. Well, first, thanks for waking me up in the middle of the day as I have a night shift tonight for this emergency and texting me a map to wake up to. Yeah, that
hey, I didn't. It was Destiny Wells. She didn't know.
That's true. She's the one who texted first. And yeah, these maps are not indicative of what people. It's not people choosing their representatives. It's someone manufacturing maps to have representatives be given to people. It's anti-democracy. That's what it is. And so we're in a position where Indiana Republicans, Hoosier Republicans, many of which are standing up to the National Republican Party and Donald Trump to say, what you're trying to do doesn't fit here in Indiana. Other states have done that. Kansas has done it to the Republicans. Maryland has done it to their Democratic Party and said, we're not going to do this. And Indiana should be the next state to stand up as well. But with pressure from the National Party comes a vote. And these maps will be considered on December 8th for a vote.
I feel like we've been talking about this forever. We've done emergency shows on it. I did a show last week with Chad Snow about Do Something Southern Indiana. And I was like, yay for us, we stopped redistricting. And while the show was going on live, they announced that it was back on the table. So I get done and I'm like, and so let's just go over it really fast for those of you just tuning in. So Indiana has 9 congressional districts. These are our elected officials that go to DC to represent us. And right now, 7 of them are Republican and 2 are Democrat. And it doesn't exactly match up with Indiana voters because about 40 to 47%-ish of Indiana voters are Democrat. So that doesn't match up. But what they want to do is they want to change the maps mid redistricting, not during a census year every 10 years like they're supposed to, but in the middle of that, they want to change the lines so that they can make 9 Republican congressional people to 0 Democrats. It's already 7-2. They're trying to make it 9. And I'm going to pull up this map here. Here's the old map from 2021. Here's the new map that they are proposing, and it puts District 9, that yellow district in the southern Indiana, it puts it with part of Indy. And if you look at it, it divides up Indianapolis, which is one of our Democrat congressional seats. Andre Carson holds that seat, and they're carving up Indianapolis because they're hoping that would dilute the Democratic vote enough that they could get all 9 Republicans. And Indiana doesn't want this, right, Tim? Indiana doesn't want it. It's Donald Trump, our president, calling for this. JD Vance came to Indiana during the summer and tried to push for this. It's kind of seems like bullying here. Yeah,
it is bullying. And the Indiana people have very clearly said in multiple polls that this is an unpopular thing to do. Republicans are slightly in favor it. Independents are wildly not in favor it. Democrats are don't want it at all. And so when you put all that together, you get a state that does not want redistricting and wants to be let alone and do politics as Hoosiers do, not as the National Party does. And so what's happening here is Senator Bray from who leads the Senate for the Republicans had kind of said, hey, us on the Senate side of the state house, the state Senate said, we're not going to vote on this because the votes aren't there. There's enough of us that say this is ridiculous. We're not going to do it. But then what happened is a lot of pressure nationally. And from that, some bad actors started to do some swatting, which is when the SWAT teams are called to someone's house.
Yes,
And
so like
Mhm.
the state Senate Republicans that are publicly saying, well, my constituents don't want this because a bunch of people from Indiana have been calling and emailing their elected officials and saying, please don't do this. So they're coming out and saying, I'm not going to vote for it. They're getting like bullied by like
Yep.
getting calls saying there's a bomb at their house or there's whatever, and getting the SWAT team to come, which could be dangerous. It could lead to someone getting hurt, and it's also
Hmm.
very scary. Think about if you all of a sudden have 911 come to your house, like there's a burglar in your house or something, and you're just sleeping, how terrifying that would be. Even Mike Braun have had this happen to him. Like,
Hmm.
I really cannot believe this is happening. And Donald Trump has released at least two public statements on social media going after Indiana and Indiana Republicans. I
Yep.
did not have that in my bingo card for this year that was going to happen.
Yeah. And he's also saying that he's going to primary anyone who doesn't support this. And so what that means is that Donald Trump himself isn't literally going to come to Indiana and run for state rep against someone who doesn't vote for this. But what he's going to do is put lots of money, lots of energy, and his endorsement in the Republican primaries of any Republican who stands up to this vote. And so that's going to be an important thing coming on this next election cycle. And here in Indiana, we have what's called open primaries. And so Democrats can go vote in a Republican primary. And you might see a lot of that movement going back and forth, and it's going to really mess things up. We saw this last year happen in a number of ways, and it's going to be a really interesting primary season if this goes through or if it doesn't go through. Either way,
Yeah. And
primaries
I
are going to
just
be invested in.
aren't our elected officials supposed to vote the way we the people want,
That's right.
like our district? That's what is so it's so obvious right now. The majority of Hoosiers do not want this.
Yeah.
Are the people listening to
And then
us?
the
And if they aren't, maybe we vote better people in, the people that actually get to vote. And also,
That's right.
Trump did this last time. When he was president the first time, he did a lot of, I'm going to primary these people if they go against me. Did it always work?
No, of
Because,
course not. It doesn't
yeah,
work. No, it
it
does
doesn't
not work.
work.
People don't
It,
like it. And this is a recipe for backfiring. And in a ways, it gives me hope. And I actually read an op-ed yesterday about a Democrat saying, yeah, let's make this happen. You should do this because you're probably going to lose 3 seats, out of this, not gain two.
yeah,
Um,
I don't think anybody likes it. Republicans in Indiana don't like it. Democrats don't like it. It's gonna upset a whole lot of people, so I still have hope that this vote is not gonna go through, that
right.
the state Senate gonna come together and vote no on this, but they wanna make it public because they're fully trying to bully the elected officials, the Republicans in Indiana, the national Republicans, Trump, they're trying to bully our state officials that are supposed to represent us. Now's the time to see, are they brave? Do they stand together and say, no, we're going to do what the people of Indiana want? Or do they bow down to their king? Guys, this is why we have the No Kings protest. We're saying no to kings. You don't get to do this. Your way doesn't always fly in a democracy. There's supposed to be checks and balances. So here's a checks and balance with Indiana. Is it going to work? It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be really interesting. And it's either way, this does bring attention to voting. It does bring attention to the democratic process. It does bring attention to how much turmoil there is with our politicians and our leaders right now, and how out of touch they are with people on the ground, especially working people. And so this is just highlighting all of that. And my hope here is no matter what happens, what that does is brings more people to the ballot box in the primaries and in November. And a hope is not a strategy. This is work. This is going to be work. And I know, Sarah, you and I will be working to get people to the polls. any which way, whether I'm primaried out of here or I don't even have a race to run. I don't know what's going to happen here, right?
Yes, so
But it's
you're running for Congress in District 9 and you legit don't know what your district is going to be. You know what
that's
it
right.
has been. You ran a race last time. You went
Hmm.
over those 18 counties. You put 77,000 miles on your car meeting as many people as possible. They might change that. They might take out Bloomington and give you some of Indy. What's that going to look like? Is that going to be other people living in this new District 9 that are also running for Congress? Like, what is going to happen? There's so
Right.
many unknowns. I
Yeah.
just think a lot of chaos and upheaval. And I do agree with you. I think it really much could backfire against the Republicans because so many people can get, will get angry at not having a voice that they're going to vote for the other party.
Yeah. And when it comes to Southern Indiana, let's talk about it because a lot of our viewers are from there. You're from Harrison. I'm from Clark. They're keeping Clark, Floyd, Harrison together in this map, right? That trio of counties, and especially, Floyd almost flipping to Democrats last time in a Trump election. This time should flip to
Yes.
Democrats. And so that's something that I'm not sure that the Republicans, the national Republicans know or are looking at to understand what's happening in Floyd County, what's happening in Clark County, and what's happening in some of Harrison too. And then you have Scott, which has a lot of municipalities that are Democrat in it, right? Austin and Scottsburg both are Democratic Party municipalities with mayors and city councils. And so if they can mobilize, because they're saying, hey, you're cutting us out, you're trying to cut us out, we're going to cut ourselves right back in and vote. That's huge for them. Washington County is where Aaron Houchin, the current representative, lives right now. And that's not a very popular move that she's doing to her own people. So we'll see what happens with that. Crawford County doesn't have a hospital. One of these other places that are in a healthcare desert, and we know that Harrison Hospital is in danger of losing. It's already lost its OB program.
Right.
I don't know, right? So if you live down in Crawford County, where are you giving birth? I have no idea. There is something in
You're
Orange,
you're giving birth far away if you can make it.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Orange Hospital has a hospital. I'm not sure if they're giving birth to babies there or not. I need to look into that. Lawrence is where Bedford is, and Jackson's where Seymour is. And then all of a sudden, there's Brown in there where Nashville is, beautiful part of the country. And then Monroe gets cut out, which is where Bloomington is. And instead, Bloomington gets put in with Evansville. So that becomes a super interesting race
Yeah, that
because,
really changes things because Bloomington is a big place for District 9 normally. It's heavily
right.
Democrat.
So the big heavy Democrat being moved in with Evansville, which has been very Democrat as well, putting those two together and see how they can play together to be able to make some waves here and maybe able to win Indiana 8.
And I think you
And
know this, Tim, but like when Obama became president and before that, Harrison County was mostly Democrat. Like it turned not that long ago.
that's right.
And now we've had years and years of supermajority Republicans in the state. So they haven't been listening to the people, even the Republicans in this state for a while. And
Hmm.
people are noticing and they're getting upset. So you add this on
Yeah,
to our energy bills going up, our public schools being defunded, data centers popping up everywhere, hurting our environment, hurting our water, our air. You keep doing this. How much more is it going to take before we vote the other way? Because I
right.
feel like that may happen
So
this next time.
you're having some of that already happening. We're already seeing that, right? And a lot of the phone calls that I make to voters every day, I am seeing people say they do not support Trump and they do not support someone who would vote for Trump and be behind Trump after 3 elections of voting for him. And so that has not been the case for me in a long, long time. Right? I just haven't seen that from voters. I've seen voters complain about this policy or that policy or not agree with certain things, but I've not seen people just completely defect. And over the last few weeks, maybe 3 or 4, that has been a reality that we've seen. Let me say one more thing about that map. If you could put that map back up for one more moment, because I think this is the key part to how this all could backfire. You broke Marion County into four different districts. You see Indiana 9 snakes up there into Marion County, and you see Marion County has kind of 9 boxes in it. Um, that represents the different townships of Marion County where Indianapolis is. The middle box is all Indianapolis. That's downtown Indianapolis, right in the middle box. So, my district would get a large part of that. So would District 6, etc. What's in that box, and some of the other boxes too, are uh, is some wealth and the economic drivers of Indiana, the large hospitals and the hospital centers, some of the universities. There is a lot of activity and people who are driving the economy of Indiana there. The reason that's important is now you're spreading that into the rest of the state through this. You make it so that if someone is deciding to give $1 to a political campaign who lives in Indianapolis, they're actually giving piece of that dollar down to Harrison or to Evansville or out to Terre Haute, like whatever it might be. They're giving that money spreading throughout the state. And so that if you're a Republican who's in those outer areas and you have been insulated from Indianapolis's power center, from its economic driver, you've been able to not have that affect you as someone who's running for politics. You are now scared. This is a bad move. Then that could backfire hard if the Democrats are able to organize themselves, be hopeful, give a great message, and give something for people to believe in. And that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I heard that, like, I heard somebody comment on Destiny Wells' post about this, that doing this is going to make these Republican officials who've had to do very little work to stay elected
That's
actually
right.
raise money and campaign and get out. And they're not going to want to do that.
And Sarah, we
So,
talked about this, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
one of the things that I said I had a house party in Jeffersonville the other day, and I had been thinking about this, but then articulated it during that of like the Republicans don't have any machine. Like we talk about the Democrats not being organized in one way or another. And our campaign's getting very organized, very professionalized, knocking on doors, etc. Erin Houchin didn't knock on a single door last year. She doesn't have that. And if she wants to do that, what's she gonna do? She's gonna have to pay people to knock on doors for her, right?
Now,
She's going
she
to have
had
to.
some events. She had some events that she didn't attend that it looked like she would attend, but it was just paid people that came and like wrote down, "Oh, you have an issue? Okay, we'll write this down and never get it to Erin Houchin, and she will never contact you back. But we're gonna act like we care about what you say."
Yeah,
She did those type events.
yeah.
She didn't, but the money
If
did
the,
because she has
if
a lot of money.
But if there's a real, yeah, if there's a real movement, if there's real organization by Democrats, by progressives, by centrists, by right of center coming together, the Indiana Republican Party, the Hoosier Republican Party, is flat footed right now. They are not prepared to fight, and they will get beaten if they actually want to go to battle. And that's what they're doing.
Right.
That's what they're doing. They decided
I
not to
knew
go the
this was
safe
going to
way.
happen. I knew Indiana was going to get so bad that people were going to come and vote differently. I didn't know it was going to get accelerated by Trump and the national Republicans and Braun. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see this acceleration putting a match on it, you know. Whew.
Yep, it's pretty extreme. And so, yeah, this is people buckling to national pressure who don't understand what it is. And this is politics, right? And I saw it last year becoming a first time candidate and understanding it. It's so many political voices nationally coming to you, telling you to do this, that, or this. And they say, this is the way it's done. This is how you win. And you're like, what are you talking about? What do you know about my
No.
district?
They
And
don't
so
know. They don't know
they
about rural districts. They do not know.
they do not. And so
Yeah.
their advice is hollow because it doesn't work. And you're seeing that right now happen to the Republicans. They're taking hollow advice in the name of what Donald Trump needs to feed his really poor numbers. He has extreme, even in Indiana, he has poor numbers right now
Yeah.
in terms of his approval rating. I just saw a poll that the Democrats have a higher approval rating than Republican Party in Indiana.
Whoa.
They have a or a higher, excuse me, disapproval rating. So yeah, so more people disapprove
Well,
of
that makes sense because they're the ones in power. They're the main
yeah,
ones hurting our state
yeah,
right now.
yeah,
There are some indie Democrats aren't great. There's some indie Democrats that are fantastic, but
yeah,
it once you get the super majority and you don't have to listen to your people anymore, then bad happens regardless of your political party. It just so happens that in Indiana, we're super majority Republican. I
yeah.
want to
So let's
read
talk. Mm,
I wanted to
Go ahead.
read
Oh, go
Treva's
for it. Yeah.
statement. So Treva Hodges is mayor of Charlestown, Indiana, which is in
Mhm.
Clarksville, right? In
Clark County.
Clark County. And she released a statement about this map, and I thought it was well stated. She's a Democrat, twice elected in a very rural red county. And she put Indianapolis, they want to pair Indianapolis with Clark County. This is the proposed new congressional district map being considered by the General Assembly in their special called session. While everyone else is worried about getting prepared for snow and paying our bills, this is what our state leadership is doing. Please join me in calling our state representative, Zach Payne, in the number, and Senator Chris Garton, his number, to tell them to vote no on this wildly out of control map. I love my friends in Indy, but this is just not right. Under this map, the Indianapolis airport and the speedway would all be part of the same district, with the
Yep.
first capital in Cordon, New Albany, Jeffersonville, and Charlestown. And then she did the emoji with the face plant. Thank you, Treva. That
That's
was
right.
well said. It is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I drive an hour to your house. It takes me like an hour and 1 minute to get to your house, to go up your dirt road next to the corn and your chickens and your goats. And here you're supposed to be paired with Indianapolis people. Make
That's
it
right.
make sense.
Yeah.
It's a power play. It's about losing our voice. This is like a way to have no representation. We pay
Right.
taxes. We should have a say on who we elect. It's not
And
democratic.
and if it happens, I want to twist that narrative right back around and say this could be our opportunity to get our voice back.
Yep.
And yeah, as a people who feel unrepresented in this state, to be able to say, hey, if you're going to try to squish us and push us out and make it so that you're handing us who our representative is rather than us voting for that representative, we are going to organize. We're going to knock on doors. We're going to get people out. We're going to vote. We're 50th in voting in Indiana. We are going to vote in such a way that we get people out and we win, right? If we want to cause the win, we
Hey,
know
Tim
that can
Peck,
happen.
you know who's going to be on the ballot in November? Secretary of State.
Mm,
Secretary of State has a lot of power in how we have our elections.
that's
Right
right.
now, it is harder to vote. Voter suppression is very real in Indiana. It is harder to
Hmm.
vote. Our voting hours are ridiculous. It's 6 to 6. It's hard. You're waiting for hours to early vote. It is hard to vote in Indiana. If we elect in this next November a Democrat Secretary of State, which right now would be either Bo By or Blythe Potter, both of
Hmm.
those candidates would fight to make it easier to vote so that Republicans and Democrats and everybody have more of a fair chance of their vote counting. So
Hmm.
this could really affect the Secretary of State race. And that, from what I understand, I've been trying to save
Yeah.
Indiana for
Yeah.
several years now. Getting a Democrat for Secretary of State seems to be the easiest way to save Indiana, because if we make it easier to vote, then those 40 to 47% of Democrats that we have in Indiana, we might be having more now, when they go and they vote, their voice is actually heard and we get more more purple. We get more compromise, more holding each other accountable. So, I mean,
That's right. You'll get
yeah.
more people to be able to have their voices heard with a Democrat in power in the Secretary of State. It's that easy. It's that easy, and so that's a big backfire if this messes up for them. even if it's a one-time blip of blue going on right now across the state because of all this, the lasting effects of that are bad. I think that gets back to gerrymandering, voter suppression, all of these things, and straight party ticket ballot voting. All of these things benefit who's ever in power. And
You wanna know
so,
something? You might not even know about all of this stuff, Tim, but I gotta tell you some not hot gossip because it's all true and it's all factually reported, but some interesting things that are happening to the Indiana Republicans right now. I've had
mhm,
a few people that run nonprofits and stuff that try to push legislation in Indiana that have a lot of Republicans on the inside. They were talking to me, and I had one source today telling me there's a faction, there's a split in the Indiana Republicans happening. They're splitting into two groups of Republicans. It's the group that support our Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, and then the group that do not support our Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, and they call themselves the conservative Republicans. Because, and I had Tom Lobianco on from Site 24 News a couple weeks ago. He's the one that's been doing these stories about Micah Beckwith, who's a pastor with Life Church. There's 4 churches. And the other pastor and the pastor's son are like, the pastor's son was arrested for disgusting pornography type things. And then we've got all these allegations coming out, multiple people coming forward that went to this church with really gross stories from this pastor. We've got Micah Beckwith doing gross things with AI generated like porn that he's watching on his computer at a Capitol building in Indy. And so that's coming out, and people are starting to distance themselves from the lieutenant governor. And I just think that that is going to come at play here too. You know,
mhm.
most people are good, most Republicans are good. And when they find out about this gross, icky, factual stuff being reported by Tom Lobianco, they're turning away against this.
Yeah. The party, what we're seeing is people following kind of the national Trump led MAGA movement and others who have been very quiet about it, letting it happen, have tried to poke around the edges, but have tried to keep their jobs, right, and be out of it. But this is causing a divisive moment within their own party that people are having to pick sides. And there's only one man that's making that happen, right? That making people pick sides rather than uniting, and
Right.
that's Donald Trump. So it can all crumble and backfire right now, and it looks like it is. And I don't want to sit here and cheer for the crumbling and backfiring and of other and demise of other people. What I would like is for people across the aisle to come together, elect some people who have sensible nature, who will work with anybody to
Right.
get stuff done,
Right.
rather than continuing to elect people who only want to divide us. That is either side of the aisle. I
A
don't care.
functioning democracy requires both political parties to put the community first, to put people first. And
Yep.
since we haven't had that for a while, we all can tell. We are all upset with what is happening. They're just playing the blame game. They're not fixing stuff. And then look at what's going on right now with mid-decade redistricting of Indiana. Clearly, our voices are not being heard. Like Treva said, we're about ready to have a snowstorm tonight. Shouldn't our news be about the snow and protecting Hoosiers? Shouldn't we be like highlighting our white flag shelters for the unhoused? Shouldn't we be
Right.
helping people struggling? What happens if people lose power? These are the type of stories we should be talking about. This is what Treva wants to talk about as mayor because she's trying to protect the people in her town. And
Yep.
it's just so hypocritical, and we need better people.
Yeah. That's it. Period. We need better people to represent the good people of Indiana. So right now we have people who are all for themselves in this. If you vote for this redistricting, you are all for yourself. That is it. You are not voting for the good of any people. That is for sure.
Here's Travis just made a good comment. I'm going to put it up here. Maybe make hospitals your focus to the rural areas. As you said, Crawford has no hospital where my dad lives, but in Lawrence County, where I grew up, we had 2 hospitals you could give birth at, and now only have 1 hospital and none you can give birth at due to monopolization of IU Health. Not sure about Paoli Hospital. What about Martin, Perry, Davis, Gibson, Greene counties? I don't know about birth, but I know geographically, one has to travel long distance for healthcare. We're actually going to be doing some shows on that
Yep.
soon, Travis. Tim and I just spoke about this a couple days ago during the Thanksgiving break, that we need to focus on this because this is a massive issue. People need healthcare. When they call 911, they need someone to come quickly and take them to a nearby functioning hospital.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Travis, I live in a healthcare desert. I live in northern Clark County, where the hospital in Charlestown, the where Mayor Treva Hodges is closed. And so I'm wearing my scrubs because I'm going to work tonight. I'm an emergency doctor, and I'm working at the nearest emergency department, which is 40 minutes away. And so that means that if my wife needs to call 911 when I'm gone, it'll take well over an hour for her to get to see me. And in fact, my across the street neighbor, across the street, like all the way over there, we're in a rural area, the farm across the street. The wife there had cardiac arrest and CPR, and had to wait 45 minutes for the police to show up, 15 more minutes for an ambulance show up, another half an hour to 40 minutes to get to the hospital with lights and sirens. I was at our trunk or treat in town the other day, and a little kid fell off the shoulders of someone, and they were fine, thank God, but didn't know that at the time. They weren't acting right, and so there was no ambulance to be seen. They called 911 and said, "We have no ambulance," and so they had to jump in the car and go to that emergency department.
I
The
think a
nearest
lot of
one that
people
they
don't
could.
realize that. They just assume in an emergency they can call 911. Quickly, someone will get there. Quickly, they'll be taken to a hospital. And that is not the case. And it's better to
Yeah,
be aware of that so that you can
I
act
met someone
accordingly in an
else
emergency.
I met someone else the other, I guess that was about a week and a half ago, who had a heart attack over by the river over here, and no ambulance could get them. So they had to put that person in the car, bring them to the Valero over on 3 and 62, where that is, for an ambulance to pick them up to then bring them into Louisville. So it that's what we're living in right now. And a lot of these places, like you're saying, Travis, are on the edge of that and are about to go into that as more people lose healthcare.
I want
You
our
need
elected
people to be
officials
able
to
to pay their
talk about
bills.
that. Like, are
Y-
our elected officials in Indiana talking about how rural hospitals are going to be closing? I noticed some of them are. Usually they're
Yeah.
Democrat, but like ours, the
No,
ones in my county, crickets.
no, nothing. And we wrote the CEO of Harrison Hospital. I wrote her and gave her an opportunity to come on the show. She hasn't written back yet. I'll write her again. And if anyone speaks to her, please let her know that we'd love to talk to her, either on or off the air, either way, to talk about it, because they've been listed as one of the hospitals in the nation at threat. There's about 330 something hospitals across the country that are at threat when the big beautiful bills, Medicaid cuts go through.
That's
That
so many people. That is so
that
many people.
that hospitals would be a threat of closing. They are one of them. They've already had to close their OB program. And when you don't have a hospital, it's not just, oh, it's okay, we'll still be able to go to the hospital in the next county over. No, with that comes EMS loss. With that comes economy loss. With that comes jobs loss.
Hmm.
It comes depression. So it's and you need great leaders to get yourself out of that. So yes, this idea of healthcare deserts, and the fact that healthcare right now, the system that we have, is a system of abandonment, is the center of it. And we're going to do a multi-part series on healthcare deserts
And
right here
Tim,
on Project Next.
you know more about healthcare than anybody I know. I helped you prepare for a debate you did a few weeks ago that was healthcare centered, and just helping you with that debate and hearing your answers, I was figuring out our problems better. It makes me feel better that you know so much. I feel like not every congressional candidate, not every person running for office gets it because they're not both a doctor and in politics, and like you've actually got legislation passed in
Mhm.
DC to get telehealth started, which is incredible. Somebody said at a Bloomington fundraiser for you that I attended that you've actually gotten more legislation passed than Aaron Houchin because you went and had that telemedicine. I thought that was really funny, and sad.
Yeah, it's bad right now. it is a bad situation, and until it happens to you, in terms of healthcare deserts, you don't really know it. I just went to the Walgreens on 403 in Charlestown the other day on a Saturday to pick up my normal monthly medications. It was Saturday, and they were closed. What? Why are you closed? The pharmacy's closed. We don't have a pharmacist on staff right now. So, okay, they just didn't have enough. And so I went into a different Walgreens and spoke to that pharmacist about what's going on. They said, yeah, they're shuffling us all around the counties around Clark and Floyd and into Louisville, even taking people out of Louisville to bring them in here and trying to make it so they can keep them open. Not only that, but I started noticing that the only 24/7 pharmacy around us is in Jeffersonville on Spring Street, the CVS. And I do overnights, and I depend on that pharmacy being open for people when they get discharged. And it's been closed at night very often, if not
Wow.
open 24 hours, even though it says it's
So what are
24/7.
they doing? I've had that happen before where I need a in the middle of the night pharmacy. Yeah, that's scary.
So you
I'm
have to go into Louisville now and to do it. And again, going into Louisville, it sounds, oh, it's just across the river, right? But it's a different state. You're now bringing economy across the river. You're adding time to people's rides, to trips.
and
You
it's
are
not just Louisville when it's your child crying in pain,
you're
or
right.
it's
And there's a
different.
toll to get across the bridge,
Yeah.
and it's not
Yeah.
it's not something everybody can do. And if you don't have transportation, it's not something you can even hope to do.
Before we end here, we will be doing more reporting on this. Don't worry, everybody. Once this vote happens next week, we will let you know what happened. And if this is our new map, we will be organizing. Project Next will use all of our services and our connections to do everything we can to help Hoosiers in this state. So don't lose hope. We will fight it. I have hopes that they're going to vote no to this because, again, this hurts them too. The Republicans that are voting on this, it hurts them too to do these new maps. So it's interesting. I want to, before we leave, because you're a busy person and I haven't been able to talk to you on the phone, I need to tell you about something that we need to talk about on a Project Next show that happened to me on
Okay.
Friday. On Friday,
Okay.
I got my mail and it's from the census, and it says, a message from the director of the U.S. Census Bureau. Your address has been randomly selected by the U.S. Census Bureau to participate in the American Community Survey. This Census Bureau conducts this survey each year to give our country an up-to-date picture of how we live, including our housing, education, and jobs. And it says it is illegal to not complete it. So I looked it up to make sure it was real. It was real. So on Friday, I spent 40 minutes filling out this census survey. It asked the most specific questions about all 5 family members in my house, and it really wanted to know the race. I had to know not only was I white, but how many languages did I speak? What languages were they? And what type of white? English, Italian, Spanish, German? Every single 5 people in my house, I had to really go through how much money did we make, property taxes, how many bedrooms, what type of internet. I mean, the Census Bureau. And I was, wow. And I've never been so thankful that all 5 of us are white. We're born in America. We speak English. I put that we're English descent, but it's kind of weird because we're a lot of descent. We're mixed from a lot of places, so it's weird. But I wanted to talk about that. I just randomly selected. I wonder how many other people were, and it's like the first time I really felt like the national government was really getting into my business. It was interesting. Have you heard of this, Tim?
Uh, no, I need to learn more
We
about what
looked
that
at it and
is.
there were a
Yeah.
bunch of people upset about it online already. So it's out there, but I was unaware of it until I had to fill it out for the 5 of us. So
Right.
I thought maybe we
Yeah.
could talk about that sometime.
Absolutely. And those information and statistics and tracking things is so important for the country to be able to have good legislation, right? To be able
Well, they
to
just got a
have
lot
good
more
use of
information about
resources.
about
Right.
my
That's
family.
that's good. But when you have a situation where people are being targeted for who they are, to give information about yourself it's a fearful moment to do that.
Yeah. So it would be very scary if there was a brown person in the household. It would have been such a scarier thing to fill out than it was for me. I just feel really worried and concerned for our country, for the people that live here that don't meet the mold of what the national government seems to want. It's a scary time. Yeah. So if you are watching this and you also got that survey, let me know because I'm kind of curious how many people have had it.
Yeah,
Um,
let's look into it. That'd be cool to get someone from Census Bureau on and then learn about it straight from the horse's mouth as well, if they will.
Yeah,
Although
like,
as a
how is this
government employee, they might
information gonna
not.
be
Yeah.
used? All that information about what color skin I had and my descent, I wanna know how that's gonna be used because, whew, seems interesting right now.
And
Alright,
then
you have
also
yeah.
any publicly elected officials that are going to be affected by this gerrymandering, one way or another, please contact us as well. Come onto the show. We'd love to talk to you and hear about what it means for you, but more importantly, what it means for the people that you're representing, and be able to broadcast that to everybody. And then if you're an individual who is somehow affected by this gerrymandering directly, please give us your story. Please let us know. Let us know what you're being cut off from by getting out of a district or being put
I tell
into
you who's
by another
probably
district.
mad right now is Andre Carson.
Mm,
'Cause he's our elected official out of Indy, our Democrat, and it's pretty easy for a Democrat to win in Indy. It's very Democrat there. You cut it in 4, and which one is he gonna be in? I don't know where he lives. I don't know which district this is gonna impact him. So, this is interesting. If this happens, and it does seem like I know that we had Ross Thomas on, our lawyer friend, explaining the law behind this. It does seem illegal to divide up Indy like this. I
well, we'll see. We'll see how they did
yeah,
it because it's not illegal to divide something up politically, but it is illegal to divide something out by racial lines. So if
I guess that's the way they'll get away with it. Yeah, you're right.
So
Ah,
we'll see. We'll see if they
interesting.
did it correctly. I mean, that's why the Texas maps are being aren't going through right now because they broke up too many communities of color.
I didn't know that. I didn't know what was going on with Texas. So right now, what their state courts are stopping it?
Yeah, state Supreme Court, and so it goes to it'll go federal. It'll need to go before the Supreme Court to figure out what to do with that.
I don't know. I'm a little nervous about federal Supreme Court, but
Yeah, we'll see.
what a
We'll
time to be
see.
living in.
And
Oh,
they don't have what California has, which is they did a question on a ballot and a referendum. So states that got referendums through, it's a lot more fail safe than those who just had their legislatures do it without the voice of people.
so if this does happen, chances are like the ACLU, the Indiana ACLU will file some
Oh,
sort of
someone's already
right.
written the. I mean, the case it's already written up. I'm sure.
Yeah.
What they're going to file. So
And then we'll have to wait to see when it goes to the state Supreme Court and then if it goes to the national Supreme Court. So even if it
mhm.
does go through, there's still more of a fight. This is going to be interesting. And we're actively campaigning. You're actively campaigning for Congress right now in the former District 9 that we
Yeah.
still have that includes Bloomington and not Indy. I
And
mean,
I also wouldn't put it past that this is the map that they're putting out there, and that they don't put a different map out like an hour before the
because
election,
there's like
the
hundreds of
vote,
different maps
right?
that you can generate.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like some other map will put out like an hour before that they'll just try to slide through,
I did
right?
see Micah Beckwith posted this map and said how great it was and what a wonderful thing for Indiana it would be. So they are acting like here it is.
Did you say
Woo.
why it would be wonderful? I haven't heard
It's
an argument of why it would be great. Yeah.
I mean, Micah Beckwith says stuff and it's a lot of propaganda. It's hard to focus. He's very good at that propaganda. But he acted like it was great for America and for Indiana. Like we'd have more of a voice. Like they're just acting like this makes it more fair is kind of the thing
Yeah, I
that I
keep
think they're
saying that,
pumping
but
out.
there's no explanation behind that. We need this for fair maps, and that's what they keep saying. You're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Fair maps. I don't.
Do you
What's
guys
fair about them?
did you see that they had it was what was it Micah Beckwith and Diego Morales had like their own rally at the state house in support of redistricting, and they acted like a lot of people were there, but then they really just had everybody crunched into this little like 12-foot little circle, and then when you backed out it was completely empty, so there were like a couple dozen people that came, and I heard their comments. I like read an article about it. The people that came were just spouting the Republican fake thing, so they didn't really know, they didn't really understand the truth of what this redistricting would do. But then when you look at all the other days of the many, many protests we have had in against this, it was kind of funny. So there were a lot of jokes being poked at
Right.
their side for being like, "Ooh, is it a rally or was it a meeting, a small meeting?" Because it's not popular, but them trying to like act like it is just, it's such a bully way. It's such a bully way to do this. Look at
Yeah.
what we say goes. Look, it's popular. And you just keep lying your way through it. And it's like, wait a minute. Is it?
Right. No.
Yeah.
It's good lies. All right. Well, Sarah, this has been a good emergency podcast for sure. As you can see with my scrubs, I do need to get to work.
Yeah.
So,
I wish
uh,
for gerrymandered maps text you while you're trying to sleep
oh
after your night
man,
shift
tell
tonight,
tell
Tim.
Destiny to hold off on
It was
texting
the
while I'm
first I heard
sleeping.
about it, so she did tell me before I saw it online. Oh
I
man,
fell asleep. Let me
can
tell you
you
something.
put your phone farther away from your
Well,
arm?
this is what happened. I fell asleep with my headphones in, and then I woke up to Siri reading me what you and Destiny were talking
I
about the
did not
maps.
know that. I'm sorry.
And so I woke up and this just was talking to me about that the maps are out, the maps are out. I'm like, okay.
I'm just thinking you're sleeping. It's okay to text him sleeping, not
It
knowing my
normally is,
words
but
are
I didn't.
going
I
into
fell
your
asleep with the
ears.
headphones in. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my gosh, I hope you sleep better tonight. I also had
Yeah.
trouble sleeping last night. A lot going on. Oh yeah, we have a Project Next store, everybody. Hey Elmer / Project Next. Get you some Project Next merch to help us so we can keep going, so we can report these delightful stories.
Please do.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you,
Have a great
everybody.
day.
This is a scary thing and a scary moment, and you should and can continue to write your state representatives and senators. Many of them will stand up to this, and we'll need to support them in other ways when they do. And so it's a moment where you still have voice and you still have action. And regardless of what happens, the voice and action that you have is the vote. And if Democrats, progressives, centrists, right of center people come out and vote this election cycle, these maps will look very different. And this will bite them. And we just need to make that bite hurt if they do it.
Yeah, we're coming. We the people. We are
Yeah.
coming. We deserve to be heard in this state. Yeah, yeah. Okay, Tim, good luck at the ER tonight, and I hope you get much better sleep. Take your earbuds out, put that phone far away. Don't pick it up and be like, I'm just gonna casually look at, I'm taking a nap. Don't do it. Don't do it. It'll wake you up. You know something's gonna wake you up.
I
Okay.
know.
All right. Bye everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And oh, tomorrow I'm doing a show with Hippie about what it's like to actually be homeless and how we can help the homeless. It should be fascinating. I love her. She's a badass. All right. Bye you guys.
See ya.